Hey guys, it's Danny. Welcome to a new episode of our What's in Bloom in the Orchid Room little series that took the place of the Orchids in Bloom. Today I'm going to show you what orchids have blooms or buds or flower spikes, give you a little bit of an update of the grow room, and spoilers, I am very heartbroken today because I just discovered that one of my orchids which had buds, and I've been so looking forward to see the flowers, aborted the buds. Well, I could have prevented. That's the most awful part. You're gonna see what I mean. But yeah, I'm a little heartbroken. So send your hugs and cookies in the chat, please. Or in the comments. Right, anyway, I'm kidding. Let us focus on the positives, right? So let's start on this side. And here we have a Cattleya, which is not new, but she has blooms for the first time in a long time because I kind of set her back. This is the Bull Lady or Lady-sincorana crossed with Bull Lady. It has a bit of a long name, so I'll just put it in a tag because I don't know if I remember it correctly. I have this one for a number of years, and she's actually a very, very vigorous grower. She blooms all the time, not just once a year. Whenever she matures a growth, she typically blooms. But if you set her back, obviously she's gonna take a little bit of a break, see? And this is what she did. I think the last time I cut multiple growths or directions of growth and put them all in this pot, so she kind of needed some time to relapse from that. But honestly, looking at it now, you can see it has a bit of a wild type of growth. Although the canes are very flexible, you can definitely shape them. If I was a little bit more on point, I guess I can shape her now as well. Look how flexible these canes are. You can even see how they bend. I'm gonna go ahead and stake her so that the canes are suitable hard enough in a straighter position. But yeah, she typically has a bit of a wild growth, a bit horizontal type of growth, but the flowers are very beautiful. They are a very, very deep purple color with a yellow lip. It also has a fragrance. She smells a little bit citrusy, a little bit floral, kind of what you'd expect from a Cattleya. But I do really, really like this one. I have another bud on this growth here. What I believe I'm gonna do though is just remove all of the extra growths and keep only one. Since she is so vigorous and theoretically, if I treat her right, she will bloom more than once a year, I really don't need all of this growth because right now she's starting to grow out of the pot again, and I think I repotted her like last year or 2 years ago, and she took a bit to recover. Yeah, I intend on repotting this one as little as possible because she doesn't like being disturbed, because she is pretty vigorous when she gets going, and I really don't need all of these directions of growth. I'm just gonna keep one of them. Right, nothing much here as far as I can see. Oops, sorry. There we go. But up here on the upper shelf, we did actually have a very, very pretty Cattleya in bloom. She's not in bloom anymore. I cut the flowers because they are spent, or they were spent. But I did film the blooms when they were fresh. This is Cattleya Chocolate Drop, and the party trick of this orchid is that she has glossy flowers. Now, sadly, she does not smell like chocolate. You'd expect, right? A chocolate smell. No, she doesn't smell like chocolate, but she does have a pretty nice moderate to light type of sweet fragrance to it, which is very nice. If you have some scent sensitivities, maybe this one will give you enough scent, to enjoy it but not really bother you that much. Definitely she cannot like fill an entire room or anything, but I really like the color. It's a very nice red, and those glossy flowers are really pretty. I've been looking for this one for a while, ever since I started my orchid journey like many years ago, more than a decade ago. She's not very common here in Europe, and just a few years ago I did actually manage to find her, I think, at Look Orchidine. So she does make an appearance here and there in Europe, but she's not really as common as I think she is in the USA. Anyway, definitely not a tiny orchid. You can see the long canes, and she does not bloom multiple times a year. She has a slow growth, but I feel like it's worth it. I feel like she's unique enough to have in your collection, even though she will make you wait for it. Up to you though. I just find the flowers really, really pretty. And of course, I do like red. Alright, next on this shelf, we did have the Apollo in bloom, and I think just that one. We saw it in last month's tour. She's done now, as you can see, but we have another tiny jewel that is just opening up now. This is the wonderful SLC, I think it's Cattleya now, Cosmic Delite. Now this one we've seen before, but we didn't see in a bit of a while because again we moved houses and she got a little bit stressed, but she's quite a vigorous grower, has 2 directions of growth, but it's one of those mini Cattleyas that I don't mind if she has multiple directions of growth. I'm not in danger of her spilling over anytime soon. I see this one as a more corally colored version of the Hawaiian Splash Leia. And if I look at the parentage, I won't be surprised if they do share some parents. It is peloric, as you can see. The petals are trying to imitate the lip, just like the Hawaiian Splash Leia is, but definitely we can see the color is different. Flower dimension is the same. Orchid dimension is the same. I do believe they share quite a few parents. It is not fragrant, but I think it's really beautiful if you're into miniature Cattleyas. We've talked about her before. I feel like this year, the Peloria is very striking. I feel like maybe I'm misremembering, but last time it bloomed, I don't think this Peloria was just so striking. I don't know. Editing Danny here. I actually just looked at a past video of this orchid just for the funsies, and indeed, it did not look like this. So the Peloria was definitely not as striking, but also the color was very different, and it works in the same way as the Cattleya Hawaiian Splash Leia in the sense that if it blooms in cooler weather, it is much more orangey red toned, and when it blooms in hotter weather or warmer weather, it is more magenta-y. So here you can see a bloom from March of last year, I believe. You see how red and kind of orangey red it is. Not as striking, I would say, but the color is definitely different. So yeah, I forgot about this aspect. But now she does have quite a bit of contrast, and I really enjoyed this orchid. Definitely a must-have if you like small Cattleya types. Righty, below we have a little Phalaenopsis in bloom. This is a summer bloomer, so on and off throughout the warm season this one blooms, and this is the brother Prince High Tony. If I'm not mistaken, I almost lost this one at some point, but she did make a full recovery. The flowers are really pretty. They're spotted and they have a very nice color to them. I like this color, how it looks like on a white background. I like pinkish and purpley colors when they make a contrast with white. I don't know why. And I'm actually planting some purpley roses in the yard against the white wall, and I think they're gonna look so good. Pink and purple and yellow as well. So, and orange. Yeah, almost all color against white to me looks very nice. I don't know why. Against black as well, but you know, for walls and stuff, that's not that common. But anyway, and especially for orchids, I'm digressing so much. So this orchid, let me just give it a sniff because I really don't remember if it is a little bit fragrant, but not a beautiful fragrance. I'm gonna show you another novelty Phal with a much better fragrance in a second, but the flower is really pretty on this orchid. The only thing I kind of don't like about this orchid is that it has quite lanky flower spikes. Typically with the summer bloomers, I really appreciate the fact that they have compact flower spikes and blooms. This one, not so much. Also has pretty big leaves, but it's, you know, it's okay. I'm accepting her as she is because the flowers are very pretty. But yeah, not my favorite when it comes to form. Now that's rose lingo, but I think it could apply to orchids as well. Yeah, the form of it's not good enough. I'm kidding. I would appreciate a bit more compact growth, but it's okay. It's not the type of orchid, I guess. The parentage might be quite complex. Next to her, we have the Lava Burst, Leomesezia Lava Burst. This is the new name. And look at her, she's creating a lot of flower spikes, and this is because she has a lot of growths. Definitely it is time to intervene and maybe repot this orchid, because I don't know how much medium I still have in the pot. She's overflowing at this point. Look at this growth. Look at this pseudobulb. He's like growing horizontally at this point, but this is a project. I'm a little afraid of it. Again, I was considering keeping this orchid a little tinier, but when she blooms with so many flower spikes, you know, she's incredibly pretty. So I'm still debating if I want to keep her as a specimen or create some divisions. I don't know. She's not fragrant, but the flowers are really, really pretty, especially when they're super, super red. Now she's kind of a medium red. I've had her be more red than this. I think it has to do with temperatures. The cooler it is, the redder she is as well. Now it's extremely hot. We're actually going through a pretty bad heat wave, so I'm not expecting much from her, but yeah, that's why she's not super, super red. Anyway, she's really, really pretty. Definitely recommend her if you do good with oncidiums. Alright, on my southern exposure window, let me adjust my exposure. We don't have much going on because we have the Sarcochilas, which bloom in spring, and also the Tolumnias, which for me bloom in winter, but here and there I do have some Tolumnia flowers. This one is Jairak Flower Golden Sunset. This is an older Tolumnia, and as you can see, she's quite bushy. And I will have to repot her very, very soon in a different pot. But the thing about it is she never gives me like super opulent and luscious flower spikes and flower displays. She kind of blooms on and off like this with a few flowers here and there. And I'm not entirely sure why, because the orchid herself is very, very healthy. She's not set back. I don't believe she's stressed in any way because she's together with the other Tolumnias, which bloom very nice and have no issues. I'm not sure if it's just the type of hybrid she is that she will not give me like a ton of blooms and flowers all at once. And she's pretty and I love her, but yeah, I was expecting a little bit more from her. Anyway, no fragrance. Tolumnias or my Tolumnias, none of them are fragrant. They're not even known to be very fragrant orchids. And even though I know there might be some fragrant Tolumnias out there, it's none that I have. And I have quite a few Tolumnias. Like, look at that. And I could have more. I could. I love Tolumnias. Right, another one that I have in bloom is the Red Spread. And again, this one is a very, very vigorous and very healthy individual. This one blooms in the winter with a lot of flower spikes for me. They look beautiful. But this year she decided she will just, again, bloom on and off. And I'm not going to say no. She has a really, really beautiful bloom. She has a wonderful red coloration with a sort of a white lace dotting around the edge. Do we see? She's so, so pretty. I absolutely love this lacing effect on orchids. And because, you know, the wall is white behind her, I'm gonna put my hand behind the flowers. Can we see that white dotting, speckling? It looks like lace to me. She's absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely love this Tolumnia and these types of orchids generally. Don't have too many of them that do this. The Tolumnia is definitely one of them, but I used to have a Phalaenopsis that had some similar patterns as well. Really, really like this pattern. Righty, let's move down. We have a few things here as well. I always need to adjust my camera. Right, we're approaching the disappointment, don't worry. So here we have a Cattleya, which I thought was, what did I think you were? Elizabeth Fulton Mikkel, and while it's similar, it definitely is not. So this one was mislabeled. I don't know exactly what it is, but I think I can find out. This is quite an iconic coloration to it. Can I give you a better look? Maybe like this. She is glowing. She has a very glowy orange color. She has yellowish on the center of the petals, looking like it's glowing even more. She has a really beautiful, vibrant red lip. She's absolutely gorgeous. Not what she's supposed to be, but I think I can identify her, and maybe by the time that I upload this video, I will identify her or at least have an idea. So I'll put it on the screen in tag as with the other orchids. She's also fragrant. She smells sweet, not very strong, a pretty mild scent, but this color is just really, really glowing. I really, really love her. And I've only waited 8 years, not 80, 8 years to see this orchid in bloom, just to find out she's mislabeled. But it's okay, I really, really like her. And if I'm not mistaken, I had something similar in the past. Not sure if exactly this one, but for sure an orange one like this. Anyway, very happy to have her in my collection. I love orange Cattleyas, and she looks really, really pretty. Now below we have an oldie but goldie. This is the Cattleya, gosh, didn't see her in bloom in a long time, Purple Cascade. It's one of my older Cattleyas, let's say, as a variety, not this particular one. I brought one with me when I moved countries 9 years ago, and that one didn't make it, so I had to repurchase it. But I'm very, very happy with this one. This one is fragrant. She smells like candy. Very, very sweet, moderate fragrance, and a beautiful contrast of white and purple on her flowers. She's also polaric, as we can see, and she's a bit of a cluster bloomer. This year I have 5 flowers on this flower spike. I think it's the most flowers she made so far because she's actually not sit back. She's actually really, really, really happy with the conditions, and I adore her. Purple Cascade is one of those more iconic Cattleyas, I do believe. Many people have it. I don't think you're gonna have many issues in finding this hybrid. Definitely recommended. She's not a tiny orchid though, she's pretty tall, but I do believe she is worth it, especially because of that sweet candy fragrance. Let me give her a sniff. Oh my goodness, it's like candy to me. I was expecting this one to smell florally and like lilies. Maybe she has a bit of a floral hint, but all I can detect is sweet bonbons or candy. It's absolutely fantastic. Okay, ready for the disappointment? Ta-da! Oh no! So this one is the Warm Welcome Rungnapha Fancy something something Warm Welcome. And the buds are mushy. So this one has been growing buds in the sheath, and today I noticed that they weren't like growing out of the sheath, although it was about time because I've been following the growth of these buds for a while now, and they were growing very fast every day. And for the past 2-3 days they weren't, so I decided to remove the sheath or open the sheath and see what's happening. And the buds molded. Now, this can sometimes happen, especially with some hybrids and especially in cultivation because there is no rain here, and accumulation of that sweet sap is very common. Do we see this sweet sap that orchids produce? They usually They usually produce it in abundance on new growth, whether it's new leaves, new canes, or pseudobulbs, or flower spikes and buds. It is abundant in these structures. Now, in cultivation, sometimes it poses some mold problems because it doesn't evaporate, obviously, and because it accumulates excessively since there's no rain, and since it's kind of tricky to shower orchids all the time. So sometimes things like these happen, indeed, and some people do actually cut sheaths on orchids just to avoid this scenario, which, you know what, it's not very common. Look at this one. Do you see the bubbles of sap on the sheath? Yeah, but the orchid is fine. She bloomed. Sometimes the orchid is not fine, and those sap droplets either fall inside or accumulate inside or form inside even, and this happens. So from now on, I am definitely cutting sheaths, especially when they go dry like this, but not only, stuff like that. When I see buds inside, I will cut that sheath just on the top, just to make sure that I can see inside if sap accumulates, just to make sure there's more air, because this one definitely, the sheath is dry, yes, but it wasn't dry like a week ago, so it was still green. And things like these happen because the sheath, yes, it protects the buds, but here in cultivation it doesn't need protection. It's a living room, you know, it's not the wild. So what it does, actually, it can trap moisture inside, and that's not nice. So heartbroken. I was waiting for this one to open, but anyway, from now on, you know, I kind of learned my lesson. If I see the buds, if you know, I feel it, I'm gonna cut the sheath and let the buds ventilate. And there we go. I need to wait another year for this one to bloom, but I need to also repot. I was waiting with the repotting because I wanted to see the blooms, but look at those roots. This one needs a repot. Oh well. Right, so here we don't have any more flowers or buds, just a bunch of sheaths. I don't know if they have buds, I didn't see anything. But let's move to happier scenarios. This is what's left, or whatever flowers are left from the yellow bird, not golden peacock. This is the yellow bird, very fragrant orchid at night. We saw her last month as well. This is Jairak finch, which is producing 2 flower spikes right now. I love this one. It's a color changer, and we'll see her more next month. And this one is the golden peacock. I have this one for a lot of years, and we saw it a million times on my channel so far, so I'm not gonna linger too much on it, but she's an absolutely fantastic bloomer, very vigorous orchid, blooms all the time, all the time. She's not a very tall orchid, she's a medium size, so I think she can fit in multiple shelves, but she blooms all the time, and she's mildly fragrant at night, mildly, don't expect much, but she looks very beautiful. Down below, another very prolific bloomer, and related, I do believe, to the yellow bird and the golden peacock, maybe. This is the something sunspots. Hoku gem, there we go. Hoku gem sunspots. And the flowers are a bit of a color changing type of flower. They open a little bit more pinky purple, and then when they age, they become golden. And you can see up there, some of the older flowers are a little bit more goldeny than these ones that are just opening. This one again is fragrant at night. It is a Brassocattleya hybrid, and it blooms again all of the time. It's one of those that if you just want a Brassocattleya fragrance and a prolific hybrid, you just go for. And not only does she bloom a lot, but she also creates secondary kind of flower spikes. From the main spike, I have secondary branches on both of these flower spikes. This is a trait inherited from the Brassocattlelas. They don't do it all the time, but sometimes, especially the hybrids, they can do it. And this one has kind of always started to do this for me, especially if she's in a good mood. If she's not stressed, if she's well fed, she does this. And the flowers are really, 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 really pretty in both forms, purpley and yellow. All right, let's move on. We're almost done. In this shelf, I have another tiny bloom from Crystelle Smith and R. She was a little bit set back, but now she's pulling through. I absolutely love this orchid. She has a beautiful lavender flower with a gorgeous yellow lip. The contrast is really, really amazing. There is no fragrance on this orchid, but it's, again, one of those very good candidates for tiny Cattleyas, miniature-ish Cattleyas. If you don't have a lot of space, this one is a very good option. Although she's not as fast-growing as other orchids, I would say she is just that beautiful and just worth having because of this coloration, which I feel is not very, very common. And I don't know about you, but I absolutely adore the contrast between yellow and purple or lavender, especially lavender. So this one is very, very high on my recommendation list of tinier orchids. She doesn't, or I think she blooms multiple times a year if she's not set back. Has pretty good growth, not very slow, not very fast, but I think she's quite decent. Now above, we have a dendrobium with tiny, tiny blooms that has a flower spike. I don't have an ID for this one. Well, actually, he has 2 flower spikes. I don't have an ID for this one, but I do believe it's a bigibbum hybrid. Got him from the Netherlands a couple of years ago, actually. And he's doing great. He is a sort of a miniature or tiny dendrobium. He fits in this IKEA shelf, and this is where I keep him. He doesn't need cool downs. He doesn't need anything of the sorts. He just blooms. Whenever a growth matures, he blooms. And the flowers are a wonderful white and purple coloration. Let me see. No, I thought this orchid had some buds, but nope. And I don't know if I have footage, but the Bulbophyllum mastersianum was in bloom as well, but the blooms only last 1 or 2 days, so I never catch these guys in bloom. I'll post a picture if I have one. If not, we're probably gonna see him maybe next month or so, because he's kind of throwing flower spikes really often now. And the last orchid that we're gonna see is the wonderful Phalaenopsis bellina, which is one of my most fragrant orchids. Phalaenopsis as well, but orchids in general. Absolutely must have. She's so compact. I cannot tell you how much I love the bellina, and especially this orchid, which has been with me for 10 years now, I think. More than 10 years, maybe. 11. I think I purchased it in 2014. So I have her for 11 years, and she's still super compact. The flowers are compact. The leaves are not bothersomely ginormous. Is that an expression? She smells like Skittles. Wonderful, citrusy. The coloration is wonderful. Phalaenopsis bellina is one of those iconic orchids which many of you I'm sure know. And if you don't know her, check her out. There are quite a few varieties, I think. Some that are a little bit more purple, albas. This, I think this is more of a natural type of form, although this is the variety Ponkan. I don't know how it differs from other varieties, but she looks like more of a classic bellina to me. But this one is a must-have. If you must have a fragrant orchid, do have this one. She is absolutely worth it. And I do believe this is about it on the blooms and flowers. So overall, pretty nice display this month, if we don't consider the disappointment. But it is what it is. These things happen, and it's important to document them. So you, like, if this ever happens to you, you don't feel like you did something wrong or you're like alone in this. It's so frustrating, I know. But yeah, it just happens. And from now, at least with that orchid, I'm just gonna cut the flower spikes. Just in case. When I see the buds forming, I'm gonna cut, not the flower spikes, sorry, the sheaths. I'm gonna cut the sheath just so I have ventilation in there and just so I can keep an eye on the development of the buds. Because both of the buds now are done, I'm pretty sure, and I cannot tell you how frustrated I am. I really am. I really, really am. But it happens. It is what it is. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the tour and hope you got some ideas for your wish lists. Let me know which one you liked more. And with that said, I hope you have a great day and I'll see you next time. Bye!